Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is my slightly delayed monthly haul video for the month of May 2026. So yeah, just got a little bit behind on the videos now. So I think I've got about three, maybe 4 tag videos to try and catch up on. If I missed them, I really apologise. Now I've got one for Sammy, one for Sprinkles at the cinema. I think Stuart's just tagged me as well in something. If I've missed one, let me know. Yeah, I'll try and get them as soon as I can. But today's video is going to be the monthly haul because I'm already about 4 or 5 days behind on that one to when the end of the month finished. Quite a lot of titles this month, so I'm going to not show absolutely everything because if you follow my channel, you would have seen the last couple of videos I went a bit 3D crazy with the old 3D Blu-rays. So if I've shown those already, I will keep them just in the videos. So if you want to see everything, then go back a couple of videos on the channel. I think there's like a holiday pickups one, and then there'll be like a 3D collection one as well. So most of those things I picked up as well was this month. But yeah, I won't go through everything again because they're already on the channel if you want to go check those out. So this will mostly be stuff I haven't shown. There's a couple of titles I think I may show again because I've seen them, and I'll just quickly speak about them. So yeah, so if you follow these videos quite regularly, you know that I try and get through most of what I watch every month if I'm buying it. So yeah, good habit I've tried to get myself into. I've done it fairly successfully this month. Obviously with the 3D ones, a lot of them I'd already seen the movie and I was just buying it for the 3D format, and I haven't rewatched all of those because there's so many. But yeah, most of the other stuff I've bought, I have tried to get through. There's 1 or 2 titles that I just didn't make it, which I'll explain on the way. But yeah, let's get ready to go through this stack. So this stack here beside me is going to be my CEX pickups over the month. I've got a couple more little stacks on the side here. 1 charity shop pickup, some couple of Amazon pickups, and a couple of, I think there's 1 HMV pickup, and there is some eBay pickups. So yeah, oh, and I got some gifts as well. So I've been really fortunate, really lucky. Someone, so I had my good pal Tim Coles, Tim Films Waffle, keep changing his name. Yeah, Tim, my good friend, everyone know Tim. He sent me a lovely little gift package, so I will show that as well. And so did my good pal over at Densmoviecave, try and get those titles right. Yeah, he got in touch with me and saw I was building my collection of 3D movies and wanted to send me a little package over. So yeah, really kind of those 2 guys. Thank you so much. I will show those off as well towards the end of the video. So yeah, without further ado, that's a lot of nearly 3-minute waffling to set the video up. Let's get into the movies that I watched and picked up. Okay, so the first CEX one I picked up, I had to get this off, I think it was CEX Online. I'm pretty sure it was CEX anyway. So this was one that seems to be reasonably hard to get now. And you can pay over the odds for it, so just beware. Probably worth checking the CEX price first and, you know, give that as your baseline. But I saw this... I can't remember how I saw it. I think I was just browsing the CEX app and I think I saw it and it looked intriguing. Looked up the plot, saw the cast, and yeah, it just sounded like my cup of tea. So I went for it, pulled the trigger, as they say, and I picked up a movie called Clone, which I think has an alternative title. I can't remember what that is right now, but I know when I tap into my my movie log database to keep a track of everything I've bought, it does come up as a different title. But yeah, obviously you got Eva Green in here and Matt Smith. So it's an Arrow Academy title as well, which I didn't realise, I don't think, or Academy film, whatever they were calling it then. Yes, low budget, sort of low budget, low to mid budget sci-fi, almost kind of like an independent film feel, which is probably it was. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, I thought this was really good. It's not going to be for everyone. There's going to be a lot of people probably won't get on with this one. It's a really bizarre story. It is one of the first ones I watched in the month as well, so my memory might be one of the most vague on these ones. I don't want to spoil too much, but so I'll try and skirt around as I do normally at any crucial points, but there is some things you just have to know. So yeah, it's basically now it's set at this sort of seaside area, not like, you know, full sunshine, happy days, but more of a kind of like rustic looking, bleak seasidey area. You know, the big woolly jumpers on, people just sitting at the shoreline, very sort of like vast, just landscapes just around the seashore and a bit of gravel here and there. This quiet little village or town. And it starts off following these two main characters when they're kids. And they sort of get to know each other as kids. They grow up, and what happens is the Eva Green's character, so the young girl in this, basically, she has to move her family move away from this quiet town, this village, and she has to move away fairly suddenly, and I think she goes to Japan or China. She goes abroad anyway, basically, and uproots herself and the family. Now that leaves Matt Smith's character, basically as a young boy, kind of like quite alone in terms of children on the island. It seems like it doesn't seem to be that many kids that he gets on with. He's hit it off with her. They've sort of grown up a bit together, and I think they're basically planning, you know, young love was blossoming, and they were going to be sort of like, you know, probably just going to grow up together, it seemed, and have kind of a life together. But this sort of like pulled the rug from underneath their plans as young kids when she got taken away with her parents. So it cuts to quite a few years later when they're both fully grown, and she basically comes back. So as a fully grown adult, she comes back to the island to come and find him again. When she does find him, he's with someone else at the time, but it doesn't seem to be anyone serious. They sort of hit it off again. Now this is a sci-fi movie, so it might sound like a bit of a romantic movie so far, which it kind of is, but it takes a sharp sci-fi turn, a very grounded one. So if you like things like the TV show Black Mirror, then I'd say this has probably got a good kind of storyline for you. I don't want to spoil anything, so you can spoil it for yourself quite easily. So I think it does tell you on the blurb what happens once they get back together after all these years, but something happens which then changes things quite dramatically, and it has a very surreal sci-fi tale from that moment on, which then starts to question all sorts of moral and gosh knows what, like, it's a real head scratcher about like where you stand on this thing, and you know what's right and wrong. And yeah, so it goes down a very kind of like confusing, dark, controversial, I would say is probably the best word, route to say the least, with what happens after they meet back up again after a short while. So yeah, if you like a bit of a controversial sci-fi tale, have a brief look into this one, but I say don't spoil it for yourself because it can be easily spoiled. But I really enjoyed this title, yeah, and it was really nice to see this one. I'd never heard of it before, so sort of out of the blue. Yeah, really enjoyed that one. So that was Clone. Okay, so this is going to be a long video because I've spent 7 minutes so far just going through one title. So the next one I picked up was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. So I have watched this one many years ago, I think on DVD, and I'll be honest, my memory of this was that it was fine, but I didn't think much, you know, I thought it was okay when I watched it on DVD, but I was quite young. So what I decided to do, I saw it in their CEX, and I thought £8, it's, you know, I think it's quite a hardish title to get hold of now. I had little to no memory of the whole film, but the cast, so Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of my favourites. I know Sprinkles has just mentioned him in a few of her pickups videos as well, Sprinkles at Cinema. Ethan Hawke, it's a Sidney Lumet film, which, you know, I'm not great with remembering directors and films they've done, but I know he's done quite a few films that I've enjoyed. I'm sure everyone will let me know down below in the comments. So I think I'd watched one of his films quite recently, and then I was going through his filmography and noticed that he'd done this one. And I thought, yes, probably time to go back over this one. Weird kind of thing up with this movie was I realised that it kind of has two different Aunt Mays from the Spider-Man universes now. So it opens up and there's an Aunt May. I'll put a picture in because I can't, again, useless with names, but I'll put a picture up. There's one woman who plays Aunt May is in this quite a lot. And then a bit further into the film, there's another character which plays an older Aunt May in the Tom Raimi films as well. So I thought that was quite interesting. But beside the point, that's this film, I really, really enjoyed it on a second go round. So this one is about two brothers. So this brother Ethan Hawke and Philip Seymour Hoffman play brothers, and basically they're in a spot of trouble in life. So one of them's got financial troubles. He's trying to sort of like pay for his separated partner and daughter to live. He's got sort of money commitments to those, obviously being his daughter and his ex-partner, but he's struggling to pay them and sort of like keep up to the agreement that they've got with giving them money. And his older brother, Philip Seymour Hoffman, basically runs a business, but he's, there's something going on there that's not quite right, and we're not shown that straight away. But they're both having a bit of trouble with life. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, he's got trouble with drugs and addiction. And one day he basically calls his younger brother into the office and says, look, I think we could both use some extra cash. I think I might have a plan to get some, but you got to be all in on this plan, or, just walk away now, because you need to commit. Once you commit, you're in. So he takes a bit of time to think about it, and then eventually agrees to go to it. So yeah, he basically puts on the table this plan. They're going to rob a sort of like, as they refer to it, a mum and pop store, jewelry store in a precinct. Should be an easy job. They know the store well. I won't go into too much details, but they know the store well, so they know how it's run. They know what security is like. It should be a simple in and out job. The insurance will pay for any damages and any sort of like money stolen. Everyone's a winner is how he kind of tries to sell the job. But obviously, being a thriller, a film, not everything goes to plan. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Really loved how it's shot, the tone of it, the acting in here. Everything about it was just absolutely, fantastic for me. So I really, really enjoyed that one. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. So that's Before the Devil Knows You're Dead from 2007. So this is one that I haven't seen as yet, and I'm pretty sure Roy over at Blu-ray Movies mentioned or recommended this one a while back on his channel. So yeah, I just haven't got to it. When I've been tired in the evenings, and this one I think is a subtitled movie, which just requires a little bit more like brain power, which I didn't have in the evenings. And that's a movie called Wild Tales, so I can't tell you too much about that one, but obviously £6 was quite a good deal, I thought, for that one. And I know Roy generally recommends pretty good recommendations, although we do have a bit of an opposite opinion on quite a few, but there's a few we overlap on, so hopefully that is one we overlap. So that is Wild Tales. So this one, I think everyone's talked about this recently, so another one can be quite quick. This is the latest edition of the Final Destination movies. So yeah, I've been wanting to pick this one up. I watched this one, really enjoyed it. I love all the Final Destination movies at some level. They're just really big, popcorn, horror-y fun, so it suits me down to the ground. So a buddy of mine at work was going past the CEX, and I asked him if he'd pop in and pick me up a couple of titles, and this was one of them. And this is one I hadn't seen before, but I have now, which is Frankenweenie from 2012. So yep, so filmed by Tim Burton, so all black and white. I really enjoyed this one. I think it is based on a short, if I'm not mistaken, that he did, or a film that he did of it earlier on in his career, and he's redone it recently. Again, that could be corrected in the comments. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. So for £3, nice little dark, kind of like animated movie. So yeah, enjoyed that one. So the next one I picked up was just one that I had seen on streaming years ago, and I remember enjoying it. And when it sat there for £1, I just thought, yeah, I just want a nice easy watch for, an hour and a half laugh. So for £1, I picked up David Brent, Life on the Road. So if you know the UK version of The Office, David Brent is the character that was in that TV show. He had his movie then where he's basically follows on from there, where he's now moved on from The Office. He's in a new job where he's not the boss anymore. He's got one friend in there which gets his sense of humour, but everyone else doesn't really, and he wants to try and cut it as a musician on the road. So he blows all his savings and takes himself, and he buys like a band basically to play with him. What they called Foregone Conclusion, the band, and they go touring. So, but they're touring within like a 10-mile radius or something stupid. So, yeah, he's paying for all these people. I had a great time with this. I thought it was so funny in places. Kind of like probably some sort of cringy humour in there as well. He gets this guy. There's stuff like where he gets this guy who's, I can't remember how he knows him now. I think he said he's going to manage him or something. He's basically got this black guy who he likes to keep around because then he can use him to help rap on his music, and it's just so bad. It's so funny. Really enjoyed this one. So yeah, David Brent, Life on the Road, funny as hell. This is another one where who saw this one? I've seen this on a couple of channels pop up recently, I think. Maybe it was Pete at Playtendo guy, I think it was. I've mentioned this a couple of times. So the cast in this, you just think you can't go wrong. So it's got Pacino, Baldwin, Harris. So yeah, that is Glenn Ross. Now I'll be honest, I put this on one evening and I probably got about 40 minutes into it and I just wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. So I had to abort and pull it out basically because yeah, I just had to abort the mission on this one. I just knew I wasn't enjoying it like I should be enjoying it, so I had to take it out, and I haven't gone back to it as yet, but I do want to because it looks like a really good thriller. Now, if you know the channel, you know me. I've probably said a few times in the past that I'm not massive on westerns. I know it's quite controversial with a lot of the fan base of people that watch these type of videos out there. However, there are some exceptions, and I think I'm finding that I like more of what they might be classed as a contemporary western or a modern western. So this one, Three Burials, I really enjoyed this one. So this one, yeah, so this has got Tommy Lee Jones in this one. And now again, this is one of the ones I watched earlier on in the month, so my memory's going to be a bit hazy, but I remember enjoying this one. Tommy Lee Jones plays this guy who befriends, I think it's a Mexican guy who crosses the border. And again, not really spoilery territory because it's all about this guy who crosses the border. Early on, he gets killed off in the film. Sort of an accidental killing, and his body is kind of hidden, but it's hidden pretty poorly, so the body gets discovered. Again, this is all sort of very early on in the film. And the police don't seem to be caring or doing anything about it. So Tommy Lee Jones, as it's his friend, decides that he's not going to settle for that. He's going to find out who did this, why they did it, and make them pay basically. So yeah, I did enjoy this one quite a lot. Had a little bit of a Weekend at Bernie's kind of parts to it though. That was the only thing that threw me off slightly when they've got a corpse that's sitting next to them at the campfire. That was a little bit Weekend at Bernie's for me. But other than that, I did enjoy that. Now, this is one that I had on VHS way back in the day when I was way too young. I don't know, before my teen years, or maybe before like even I hit double figures. It was just a cheap VHS I picked up from a store because it just looked fun. But this one I hadn't seen it since then, so I probably haven't seen it for 20 plus years, maybe 30 years almost. There's a movie called Married to the Mob with Michelle Pfeiffer. So yeah, I had no memory of this whatsoever. It was fine, this one. I didn't mind this at all. Michelle Pfeiffer plays, obviously, someone who is married to the mob, but she wants to get away. So she decides to take herself off and basically just start living in an apartment building on her own with a small child. And the guys from the mob don't really want to let her go, so they kind of keep tabs on her, try and track her down. Yeah, it was fine. It was sort of a 3 out of 5 movie for me. So yeah, enjoyed that one fairly good. Now this one was just a couple of impulse buys here from CEX. So these are on the 101 red label, which are always hit and miss for me. Like I must be honest, it mostly hits more than misses, but I've got a good scenario here where one hit and one miss. Weirdly, this one which rates worse, Ironheart. I enjoyed this. I'll be honest, I don't think anyone else would out there, but I can't think of anyone that would. It's so out there. Greased up, oily old muscly men from the 80s. They're kind of like an apparent in here. You've got these like henched up guys just going around beating people up. A lot of kind of like a lot of shots just going back to this kind of dance floor, this disco dance floor all the time. I have no idea what was happening in this film, but I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, Ironheart, can't recommend it to almost anyone. This is the opposite end of the spectrum for this one. So this one I thought had a bit more promise. This has got Ice-T and Christopher Lambert in, and that is Mean Guns. Now, I'll be honest, I don't ever really do this, but what I did with this film was I actually stopped it about halfway, just over halfway, and gave up on it because it was driving me insane. So, yeah, it says 100 assassins, 1,000 weapons, $10 million. Basic idea of this one is, I believe Ice-T is arranged for 100 people to attend this sort of abandoned warehouse for what it seems. And what happens then is he takes all the weapons off them. It starts off like a very poor man's Guy Ritchie film. That's what they'd seem to be going for with the script and the kind of dialogue in the film as it opens up. But I mean very poor man's Guy Ritchie film. So yeah, very low budget, very kind of like not the best transfer, I'd say. Quite a lot of overblown highlights in here. the acting's pretty bad all round. And when they say they get 100 people together, when Ice-T's basically looking over this balcony in this abandoned warehouse, and these 100 people have got to this place, he's essentially saying that the 100 people they've gathered in there, which incidentally looks like they've gathered about 25 people just off the street somehow, then they've all wronged the business, the company that he works for, or something along those lines, in one way or another over the years. And what they wanted to do was kill them all off, but what he thought would be a bit more sporting or a bit more fun would be to invite them all here, tell them that they've got, 3 people will survive. They'll split $10 million, I think it is, between the 3 of them. So you got yourself a bit of a battle royale situation from all these sort of like shady looking characters. And then they just dump a whole load of weapons off the side of the balcony in front of everyone. There's a big, scuffle for them. Then they dump all the ammunition a bit later. Then they dump a little bit more like melee weapons. And then it's just like, that's it. That's kind of the film. Now, that sounds actually not too bad, but the way it's shot, the way it's handled, and the worst thing about the whole thing was this like weird music they played the entire way through. It just really grated on me, and I had to abandon ship. So if anyone's a fan of that one, let me know how the ending went, because I have never seen the ending now, but I've seen about 2/3 of it maybe, and it wasn't for me, I can tell you that. So I was going through a little spell of just picking up some cheaper, basically 4K upgrades, so now I can do the 4K projecting. So I picked up a copy of Everest for £6 on 4K, because I may have already shown this one. If I have shown this one, I apologise. But yeah, 4K of Everest. Again, just wanted to blow it up big on the big screen. And this one, similar reasons. I picked up Wonder Woman on £6 just to be able to blow it up. I did watch this one on 4K, and it looks pretty good, actually, to be fair. So yeah, enjoyed watching that one again. Not the best movie in the world, but definitely passes the time, and I don't mind it as much as some others. And this one here was a little bit dearer at £8, but this is the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. I know this doesn't get a lot of love, but I don't mind it. The main thing with this film is I think when I saw the theatrical cut, I walked out of the cinema and I thought there just seemed to be so much missing from that film. And then when I heard that they were doing an Ultimate Edition with some additional scenes put back in, I thought I'd give it another try, and this is a whole lot better for me than the theatrical cut. So if you're in the same boat and only ever seen the theatrical cut, I would highly recommend checking out the Ultimate Edition, because it fills in so many blanks. And I don't normally pick up on that sort of technical stuff, so if I can pick up on it, then it must be bad, because yeah, I definitely picked up on it being filled in a lot better with this extended version. And then the other 4K I picked up for cheap with a bit of a slipcover on there as well is Jordan Peele's Us. So a little bit of spot gloss on the mask there as well, but yeah, £6. I couldn't turn that down for a 4K upgrade. So that was the CX pickups. So I got one charity shop pickup I'll quickly mention. So this is quick shout out to Matt from Matt V's Movies. I was chatting to him in the comments briefly about one of my 3D collections, I think it was, he watched and commented. And I asked him, is there any kind of, I know Matt's a big fan of 3D as well, he's got a similar setup to me. And I asked him if there are any ones that weren't in my collection that he'd recommend. And I know he mentioned this one, which was Need for Speed 3D. Now, I've got the standard edition somewhere, and I've never got to it. But yeah, Matt said he was quite surprised, I think, with the 3D on this. And the only reason I really picked it up is because I coincidentally saw it a couple of days later after speaking to Matt in the comments at a charity shop for £1.50. So I thought just meant to be. Slipcover, £1.50, and recommended from Matt. So thought I'd throw that on a pile. Now, got an apology for Sammy G here, unfortunately. So I know Sammy G's a massive fan of this. I think it's actually his favourite film by this director. So I picked this up on his recommendation. I was going to watch it anyway. I'm curious enough about David Lynch's movies. And I watched for the first time Blue Velvet. Wasn't for me. I'm really sorry, Sammy. I know you love this film, pal, but yeah, I was itching for it to end. I'll be honest. It was fine. It was fine. It just, for me, I've had a mixed thing with this. I had it on DVD back in the day, and I never really got round to it then. It was okay. There was nothing special in it for me personally to go back to. I just sort of like it. I know Dennis Hopper's performance in this is really good, but yeah, for me it just didn't hit the mark. And apologies, Sammy. So then we go on to, let's do a few Amazon pickups on these ones are. So now this one, I streamed this one and wanted to check it out. This is a Jennifer Lawrence movie with Robert Pattinson. I streamed it, and so I really enjoyed this. Now, I think it was Lisa Loves at the time. It was the only other person, or one of the only other people that had seen it when I watched it and reviewed it on Letterboxd. And she had quite an opposite opinion of me, so apologies, Lisa, if you're watching. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. So this is Die My Love. Now I have opened this and watched this. This is the 4K. I sort of shot out for the 4K on this one. Now what I would say is this definitely won't be for everyone, and I completely get where Lisa's coming from. But for me, this really worked. Low budget, sort of is it an A24? It's like an A24 movie. If it's not an A24 movie, very kind of like low budget, stylized. Indie style type movie. Don't get too excited, Sammy. It's not quite what you think, possibly. But yeah, this one, it follows Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, who are a young couple who basically are moving from, I think it's moving from a big city into this sort of like out in the sticks place that's been left to them, or has been left to them by a relative that's passed away recently. Now the big thing is that Jennifer Lawrence has just had a baby, and she's suffering from sort of a lot of mental health issues. I don't know. I think if you depending on what you've had experience with in real life, I think this will affect your level of enjoyment from this film greatly. So not to go into too much, but I really understood and connected with a lot of things that were going on in this movie. And I just thought her performance was amazing. I thought Robert Pattinson was really good in this one as well. It just follows this young couple basically trying to, start off life, survive. He's going out to work. She's around the house just like not coping well. But yeah, it's weird. It's not coping well in terms of like overly self-harm or anything like that. It's more not coping well, just doing a bit really odd things. She does trash a bathroom at one stage, and it just shows and deals with like how that affects their relationship, how that affects their friends and family around them. It's got Sissy Spacek in here from Carrie as well. She plays one of the mums, I think it is, of one of the characters. She was really good in this. I just loved everything about this one. The only gripe I had, I think, with when I streamed this one, that you could tell straight away that they'd shot the nighttime scenes in daytime and then converted it in post, and it started to grate on me a little bit. That kind of, you could tell. Now I did read into that and find that was a supposed stylistic choice to sort of give you a little bit of an uneasiness about the film. And what I would say is when I watched the 4K, that was less noticeable on the 4K than it was with the stream. So, it didn't bother me as much, and as it's meant to be that way, and it wasn't kind of like just done for, cost reasons or something. It sort of sat with me a lot better this time round on the second viewing. So yeah, I did watch this, twice in quite a short period of time, which is again quite a rare thing to do. So it won't be for everyone, but I highly enjoyed this one personally. Next one I picked up is just sat on my Amazon watch list for absolutely months, maybe years, and it's just one I want to upgrade to 4K. And again, now I can project it big. It went down on offer, I think, and I just picked it up. So that is 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I don't think anyone doesn't know about this movie. So I've heard the 4K is really good on this one. So yeah, I want to check this one out on the big screen, but I haven't done the 4K version of it just yet. Next one is one of my favourites, and I know Darren as well. My mate Darren, I'll link him down below. I think we picked up a similar sort of thing at a similar time. I think he's almost to blame for this actually, because again, this is sat on my watch list for a long while, and I know Darren had picked up something very similar. So I thought this one went down. I think this one went down to a fairly good price compared to what it would be, because it's an import, and this is I Know What You Did Last Summer on 4K. So this is my era. This is like late 90s, early 2000s horrors. This is where I got into horror, where I got into films. This movie, I really enjoyed this one. I haven't watched the whole thing in 4K yet. I just put it on and skipped through a few scenes to check it out, and it did look really good. But I do know the film really well, so I will get to it probably in the summertime a bit more. And then the last one I picked up from Amazon was, again, one that, I'll be honest, I was in the crew of people that back in the day put this on and was completely miffed by why certain people weren't in the film, and then just disowned it from the whole series for many years. But this is Halloween 3. Now, I must say I'm a complete convert now. I'm 100% behind this film now. I know Andy at Forgotten World of Movies, my pal Andy, he's sort of sung this praises quite a lot. And yeah, I did see this one on the big screen in 4K a year or two ago, I think it was now, which just was, yeah, that's the turning point for me. When I saw the 4K being projected, I just thought, oh, this is what I've been missing. But I do remember, I think it was an old 4x3 budget DVD. I first checked this one out, and I was, as a young boy, skipping through this looking for Michael Myers everywhere, and when I couldn't see him in the first 20 minutes, that thing just got fast forwarded to the end, and as he didn't pop up, I never went back to it. So I do owe this film a slight apology, but yeah, obviously no Michael Myers pretty much, but a really good standalone tale for Halloween, and like everyone keeps saying, the 4K on this is where you want to be. So I think this dropped down to £19.01, bizarrely, on Amazon. So it'd been sitting around the £25 to £30 mark for quite a while, and I thought, you know, £19 is the time to buy it. So I'll pick that one up. Then we got to a couple of movies that I picked up on the kind of the back end of my 3D. Not purge, what's the opposite of purging? I don't know what the opposite of purging is. It's when you just buy too much, basically. Just go mental. So I picked up Monsters Inc. on 3D, just because it was a few pound on, I think it's Music Magpie or something like that. You buy 2 or 3 of them and you get one free, or we get some money off. So yeah, Monsters Inc. Also picked up Godzilla in 3D, so yep, want to see what that one's like with the old buildings and Godzilla walking around. I picked up probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite, animated movie of all time in 3D, which is The Lion King, the original version. So yeah, I was curious. I was curious with this one because obviously this is a 2D movie, and I thought, well, how will a 2D movie work in 3D? Personal opinion is not that great. It's fine. There's a few shots where the birds fly over and it looks really good because you can see they're sort of popped out of the screen, and the bits when they go into the jungle with Timon and Pumbaa, there's some blades of grass that are kind of like pulled right forwards, but there's a lot of shots in this which is just kind of like a medium shot on a face, and because they're just 2D characters against a blue sky, I think they try and do something with the mouths, but for me it didn't work a lot of the time. But there was some scenes worthy of 3D, I would say, in here. Not as good as some other 3Ds I've seen, as would be my my honest opinion on that one. And then this one I spotted in CEX, and for some reason it was quite a high price, I think £12 to £15, somewhere around there. But it did intrigue me, and I ended up looking on eBay and found this for about £7 from a seller. So I thought, yeah, I'll grab that for almost half the cost of CEX. And that is apparently the first, I think, Spanish horror movie ever shot in 3D, or horror movie ever shot in 3D. I don't know, it's got some claim to fame. And that is Paranormal Experience in 3D. So yeah, it was a horror movie in 3D, and I watched this one pretty much the same day it came. It's one of those kind of like, is it early 2000s? Let me see, what does it say on the back? Pass, I'm not sure. I think it's early 2000s or mid 2000s, but yeah, it's fine. The only sort of like issue with this is obviously because it's subtitled, your eyes are kind of like always at the bottom of the screen, so you're kind of missing out a little bit on the 3D that's going on. The 3D was good, I'll be honest. The villain in here was quite good and quite creepy, so I did enjoy that. The film as a whole was just an average, bang average horror movie though, to be fair, so other than the gimmick of 3D and this creepy looking character, they are probably the 2 highlights in there, I'd say. Yeah, worth a watch. Won't go back to it a lot, but glad I picked it up and watched it. So I'll quickly just recap a couple of titles that I did show on a previous video. So I don't know why I picked this one up again. I don't know why this is in there. But basically I picked up Vertical Limit for £4 with a slipcover in CX. So I haven't watched that again, but I do want to rewatch that one soon. Not sure why I picked that in the mix. And then I picked up this one, which was Zoology. Now I did watch this one. This again was an Arrow Academy title. So yeah, Arrow Academy. So now you may know the artwork a bit better if I flip it back round. The artwork is more commonly seen as that. So yeah, if you're familiar with that, then this is what the movie is. Did come with a booklet and artwork on the disc, just to be careful what I show. There we go. Now this one, the premise of this one just sounded bizarre. So it's a foreign movie again, but so subtitled, but it is basically about this woman who's in her 50s, I think. She works at this zoo, and her colleagues basically just, they don't like her. They just don't get on with her at all. She's a bit of a kind of like slightly drab, oddball character, lives with her mum. You know, the classic kind of like the depiction of a sort of almost like a crazy cat lady. But yeah, so she's kind of like one of those kind of characters. That's how they mark her up to be in the first sort of half an hour of the film. Now the thing with this one is she goes to the doctors. So the first sort of half an hour of the film is quite medical based. So she goes to the doctors basically tell them that she's got something going on, and that something going on is that she's started to grow a tail. So yeah, it sounds bizarre. This is all very grounded, very realistic. There's nothing kind of like, the tail is almost like a secondary part of the story in this one. So I didn't realise the first part of this, the main part of the story, is really her then sparking up this is a mild spoiler, so if you don't want to know, skip forward, but it's a mild spoiler. It's kind of how the film goes for the following hour. This is basically a transition from her becoming a kind of grumpy, crazy old cat lady to building up her confidence, even though she's got this huge old tail hanging out the back of her that she's trying to, hide and keep away from public view. But the doctor that examines her, who does seem to be quite a younger doctor, for some reason is not... what's the best way to say this? They get involved, shall we say. They slowly get involved. There's a bit of a budding relationship starts there, which at first you think is just friendship, which may then lead to more, but it doesn't seem to make sense in why they would be together. Now, I was starting to wonder why this young doctor would take an interest in this 50-plus-year-old woman. They do sort of tell you towards the end. Yeah, I won't go into that, but I'd say this is an interesting watch if you like an odd film. So yeah, if anything there sounds interesting, seek this one out. It's not going to blow your socks off. It'll probably creep you out a bit. Zoology. Now some gifts. So yeah, really massive thank you again to Tim, my buddy Tim, who sent me over a couple of bits. I think he might have showed them. I think he showed them on his own video, so you probably know if you watch Tim's things. So yep, this was a VHS copy of The Craft. So he knows me, I like some old school horror movies, or some teen horror movies. And he knew I was doing my sort of like massive 3D collection, and he found this in a CEX and picked it up for me. So that is the Blu-ray of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I can't read. I've got the reading level of a 5-year-old. But yep, there we go. Nice lip on this one. I don't think I've seen it. I think I might have the standard Blu-ray, which I didn't think I did when Tim messaged me. But I looked it up on my app, and somewhere apparently I've got it. But I can't say I've ever seen it. So yep, good to have another 3D title in the collection there to go back to and watch. So interesting, it's a 12 as well, so it looks like a family movie, but maybe has a bit more edge to it. So thank you very much, Tim, for those. And then my pal Den. So Den over at Densmoviecave, he sent me a little box in the post of some movies. So yeah, he did send me a message, I think a little while back, and sort of suggested he might want to send me something, but I never really... I feel a bit awkward when people want to send me stuff. I never want to ask for anything because, I don't see why. But it's very kind of him all the same. And then he messaged again a little while later and just sort of said, I want to send you something. But I know you've just picked up a load of titles. Let me know if any of the ones in this picture you need. And then I will send them on to you. So, really kind of him. I think these are ones that he's got duplicates of from what I can make out. And we had a quick phone call as well. So, yeah, really nice to chat to Den. So he sent me over a 3D movie of a movie I really enjoy, which is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I do love this movie, and the second one as well. I really enjoy these. I watched these even without my little one, so yeah, enjoy that as well. A movie I haven't seen in a long time, but again, one I could check out with my little one, and that is Open Season in 3D. Another one which I don't think I've seen, at least all the way through anyway, and that is Monster House in 3D. I've heard this one's meant to be really good in terms of the 3D part, and the movie itself isn't bad, which is Tangled, so that's Disney's Tangled in 3D. This one is Ice Age 3 in 3D as well. It's just had a rain, sorry, I wonder what that noise was. And then we've got the granddaddy of them all, so you've got Avatar, so the one that arguably kicked off most of the 3D-ness going on for Blu-ray. So yeah, I want to check that out. I saw that at the cinema and really enjoyed the 3D in that. And then we've got Seth Rogen in The Green Hornet in 3D. Again, I've seen this one years ago, but my memory's quite vague and it was only in 2D. This is one of the Resident Evils, so this is Afterlife in 3D. So I've got another, is Is it another one in 3D? No, maybe that's something else. I don't know. I'm not too hot on the Resident Evil movies. I don't know them that well. I just really know and have nostalgia for the first one, but I do want to check out the others. So that will go in the collection and get watched. And then there is, I'm going to have to cover this one slightly. So this is Piranha 3D. So this is a different version to the one I have. So I do have the Piranha 3D, which I really enjoy. Just such a fun summer movie to chuck on with a beer and some, crisps or something in the summer. But I found with the 3D part, when I put it on, something wasn't quite working with the 3D glasses for me. I'm not sure why. So yeah, I mentioned it to Dan when we were on a phone call the other day, and he basically said, "Look, this copy I've got going spare anyway. I'll send it across and give this one a go." So yeah, happy to report this one works fine. So I can watch Piranha 3D in 3D. So yeah, that was it. That's everything. I don't want to leave anything out. So I think that was everything I picked up, bar the 3D movies in the month of May. So yeah, apologies, this is a big long video, but yeah, I did have quite a lot of stuff, and there's quite a few I want to talk about in this one. So hope you've enjoyed, hope you found something in there semi-interesting along the way. Next video should be hopefully movie copies and a chat video, which I'll try and record after this and put up a few days later, hopefully. And I know, like I say, I've been tagged in 3 or 4 videos. My notifications, for some reason, just aren't working the same. I've got a new phone, and for whatever reason, it's not always sending me notifications when either people tag me or when people release their videos. I've tried all sorts of things to try and fix it, so I apologise if I'm missing anything from anyone. I'm not trying to ignore anyone. I'm trying to get everyone's videos, but it's really hard to keep track when my phone doesn't tell me. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.